Hello, David here, and the project for today is maintenance and repair on a Bissell vacuum cleaner model 16, N as in nothing, 5K. I'm also going to compare it to the Hoover Elite 700 model U4511. If you remember, I just did a repair video on the Hoover Elite. It had a bad fan nut and it was obsolete, so I had to find a used one to put in there. And I'll put the link to the video in the upper right corner of this video if you want to see the repair on the Hoover. Anyway, let's take a look at these two things. Huge difference in size. You can see that? The Hoover has a 6.5 amp motor and weighs 12 pounds. The Bissell has a 12 amp motor and weighs 21.5 pounds. Huge difference in weight. If you're a weaker person or a lightweight person, I think you're going to have trouble muscling this Bissell around, especially if you have to climb stairs. You might want to have one for each floor or get a lighter weight vacuum. The Hoover has a bag. The Bissell is bagless, but don't be fooled by bagless. You have to change the HEPA filter every once in a while. It cannot be cleaned out. The Hoover's going to get into tighter spots. The Hoover's about 13 inches wide, and the Bissell's about 15 inches wide. This Hoover is made in the USA. And I doubt they're making them in the USA anymore because this Hoover is over 40 years old. The Bissell is made in China, and I don't know when it was made. When the Hoover broke down, I was certain I wasn't going to be able to get parts. I was going to trash it. Now it's working great. And at the time, a friend of ours said that she had a Bissell vacuum she was getting rid of and asked us if we wanted it. And I thought I was going to need a vacuum, so I said, yeah, we'll take it. So now I have 2 working vacuums. Well, actually, I have 4 working vacuums. I've got one from my neighbor to repair, and that's going to be another video. Let's take a look at the features. It's got a power switch for the motor, and it's got a separate power switch for the brush head, and then it's got a turbo brush for doing upholstery with the attachment. This just pops off. This turbo brush is not powered by a motor, it's just powered by the vacuum which goes through here. And that's why this thing is so heavy. All these attachments weigh it down. The catch can comes off by pushing this button. There's a diverter valve down here that transfers the suction from the brush head to this attachment. And a part that fell off, this brush always falls off, but yeah, that goes in right there. Everything falls off. And one thing about this upholstery brush, this head slides off. It's got shorter bristles for doing scrubbing on hard packed dirt. This extension has a narrow extension tube for getting into tight crevices, and this also excuse me, this also extends by turning that collar. You You can make it really long. See that? So it's convenient on how it packs. How's it go? It's just heavy. Slamming this turbo brush in, broke a little part. That part broke off that goes right here. So it's not going to be catching this thing anymore. Might as well just leave this off for now. I wasn't going to use it anyway. And speaking of abuse, this thing has seen a share of abuses. This part that holds the cord is broken, so I'm going to replace that. It's supposed to look like this. And that turns to make it easier to pop the coil of cord off. There's also a crack in the housing. Right there. Fortunately, this crack is not in the vacuum chamber, so it doesn't affect the efficiency of the vacuum. And I think someone's been here before because this carpet height adjustment doesn't follow these circles here for carpet height. It's backwards. See, this line should be pointed this way. And the reason why I could tell is, let me tip it upside down. I'm turning the adjustment knob, and these wheels should be coming out at least to here. And it's not even moving an eighth of an inch. I need to check that out. The vacuum has a pretty powerful headlight under here, and there's two screws to access the headlight. On regular routine maintenance for daily use, you want to push this button on top here to get this canister out. Bottom of the canister has a trap door. Push to empty it. You just hold this over your waste can. Push that, and the trap door opens. In order to clean the filter in here, push that button, and you get the canister out that way. And also, this filter can be cleaned off with a soft brush or a rag. Get stuff like that coming out of there. And it goes on one way. So on the back end, you catch that tab, and then just push it down to snap it in place. Okay, here's the second filter. Push down on this tab to remove the filter housing. There's a foam filter in here. This is the pre-motor filter. This is where the air comes in. This can be washed out in a mild detergent and warm water. But it's got to be fully dried before you put it back in. Something about these vacuums, they don't like being wet on the inside. They get moldy. So I would leave this out for 2 days after you wash it and dry it. Goes back in like that. Bottom in first. snap that in. And these two filters I just showed you probably should be checked daily or after each use. This is the HEPA filter. If you push on this button here, this swings open. The HEPA filter is a filter that exhausts the air coming out and goes into the room. And so you don't have to breathe any dust in the house. Undo that nut. Take out the filter. And this filter cannot be serviced. If you notice a decrease in performance, you ought to replace this filter. There's no timeline on how often it has to be done because it depends on how dirty your house is and how often you use your vacuum. But I do have a replacement. Let me get the replacement. Here's a replacement filter. Just got this off of Amazon. It's called the Bissell Style 18 by EnviroCare Technologies. Their stock number F959. Fits healthy home, 16N5 bagless uprights. Let's compare the two. Got a soft filter on the bottom. Feels like it's silicone. Look at the difference in color. Old, new. And it comes with a screw, so you could throw the screw out with the old filter. Let's install it. Oh, by the way, I put today's date on it, so I'll remember when I check the filter, I'll know how old it is. Yeah, too bad there's no odometer on these things. And Hoover says not to run the vacuum without any of the filters on it. I think I'll get a rag and wipe that out. When the handle is moved to the upright position, the roller head would stop, and that's so you can use the attachments for hand vacuuming. And the brushes will begin rotating again once you recline the handle. If you're cleaning bare floors or delicate surfaces, it's recommended that you stop the roller brushes. Just vacuum without the brushes turning. If you're vacuuming and you notice the roller brushes aren't turning, you have to flip this switch at the top. Turn on the lower switch, the gray switch, to get the roller started. By the way, you're not supposed to touch the HEPA filter with your fingers, or anything for that matter. I suppose it degrades the filter. The manual doesn't say why, it just says not to touch it. I could touch this one because it's the old one. I'm going to see if I could fix that height adjustment knob. We're going to have to take these wheels off first. It's not a plastic tab. There's a small Phillips screw right in the middle of that knob. Let's take that off. Okay, so just turn that. See how that goes. This rides like that. So this has an incline. Can you see the incline? So it starts off here on low, goes up to here on high. Alright, everything's nice and tidy. Okay, there's the low setting. There's a knob indicator that should be pointed forward. Get the screw started. Oh, that goes, this meets the incline knob one way because this has a little notch. Can you see that notch? That notch right there matches a thin stub on the other end of this. I'll show you. That's a piece. Fits in right like that. See that? Okay, back to live action. Let's get the... Okay, low setting. Okay, that's going to be pointed forward. Low carpet. Get this nut tightened. I think we're going to be good. I think I'm going to have a full range. Okay, got a full range of adjustment. I can put these capture screws on. This is made out of aluminum, by the way. I wonder why our friend gave this away. Probably thought you can't adjust it for deep pile. And said, I'm getting rid of this. I'm going to give it to Davey. Davey likes to work on things. Yeah, more like it. Outstanding. Did I get that snug? Yep. Make sure the indicator knob is right. Okay. That small dot's the low carpet. Big dot is the deep pile high carpet. Oh, that's great. See this jumping up off the ground too. Awesome. I'm going to put it in the mid-range. Job 1 complete. Job 2 complete. Job 1 was a HEPA filter. Job 2 was the pile height adjusting knob. I forgot to mention that the handle on the filter housing is also a lifting handle for lifting up the vacuum. I'm going to rejuvenate these rubber seals on the dirt container with a little bit of silicone. Got some of that heavy duty silicone, not a sponsor. Cleaning out that foam filter. Look how filthy that water is. I've allowed the pre-motor filter to dry out for 2 days, and I was surprised how dirty it was. When I first saw it before washing, I thought the normal color was an orangish yellow, and I thought it wasn't dirty at all. And to my surprise, a lot of filth came out of this in the sink. And now I see that the real color for this is a bright yellow. So I guess you can't go by the color or by the appearance. It's just pick a time when you need to do a regular maintenance on it and wash it and then let it dry. After installing the pre-motor filter cover, I just took it out and this little snap broke off. I'm going to either have to replace this cover or wedge a piece of paper in there. The use of these flimsy plastic fasteners is really troubling. Obviously this thing wasn't made to last this long. I was able to glue that little plastic piece on. I used 5-minute epoxy and I gobbed a whole bunch in around all 4 sides of each joint. As you can see. And I gave it a day to set. And it was too big to fit in the recess in here, so I had to take a file and file down around all the sides of there, and it does fit. So if you have the same problem and you are not able to glue that little piece of plastic in there, I suggest just running a machine screw, one of those coarse machine screws or a coarse wood screw. Just run it through one of the corners in there and that'll hold this plastic piece in for you. The new cord wrap has arrived, stock number 203-1466, and it's held on with 2 little plastic barbs on the back of the cord wrap. The way to get the old one off, just pry in with 2 small screwdrivers. There we go. Pop on the new one. My repair and maintenance is finished on the Bissell. Now I want to run a little test. That Hoover that I repaired last week, the Hoover Elite 700 Model U4511, I'm going to vacuum an area by the entranceway of the door, and then I'm going to run the Bissell Model 16N5K over that same area and see if it picked anything up that the Hoover left behind. What I've done on the Bissell is I've completely cleaned the dust chamber in here so that it's spotless, and I'll be able to see if anything gets picked up. See what we have here. Look at that. Picked up a lot more dirt than the Hoover. I'm going to call this a win for the Bissell. I think that extra 10 pounds does make a difference. Most of the people I know don't even vacuum their own carpets. They hire people to come into their house. But if you don't have the strength for the 10 extra pounds, I think the Hoover is a great vacuum. It's just that the Bissell's better. I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more great videos from David GPO.